Alright, welcome back to the channel. My name is Giant Fucking Forehead Zit. Whoa, wait a minute. That's crazy. I hope you're all having an amazing day. I know I'm not, because I gotta rewatch and talk about this bullshit ass I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. Not the good one from like 30 years ago. The stupid ass, dumb, stupid, bullshit ass one that they just put out in July.
I just have one question. What did you do last summer?
Back when this movie got announced, I was really nervous and admittedly not that excited. Because we've seen many times before that when you take a movie like I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is great. Like, I love the first one. I'll talk about it on the channel very soon. It's actually, I have it planned, but I love the first one, and the second one is good too. It's called I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Slightly, a little more underrated than the first one, but that movie is so good. And then there was a third one that we don't talk about. And I think the reason I had such a bad feeling about it is because of that third movie and the direction they went with it. So part of me was like, uh-oh, they fucked that up. What are they gonna do, like, with a new one in 2025? Because this movie was so 90s that bringing it into a modern day like this, especially where slashers aren't as popular as they once were, I was admittedly, a little like, okay, this might not be that good. But I still give it a chance. I still went to the theater and watched it like I do with all the new horror movies, and boy, oh boy, it was so much worse than I thought it would be. It was absolute dog shit. What this movie does is it brings back Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt, gives them very little screen time, and then pretty much just muddles through this awkward exposition until a twist that doesn't even hold up, and then it even tries to pull a Back from the Dead moment and teases a sequel at the very end. Like, good God, I hope there's not a sequel. But the problem is with this movie, they advertised the nostalgia so hard, because like you watch the trailer and it shows a car crash almost in the exact like location that the first movie had that car crash scene, or when the guy gets run over in the first one. I'm sorry, I haven't seen the first one in a while, so I'm gonna have to catch myself up, but it looks literally the exact same. So many of the shots are copied, the kills aren't even that creative, and there was better kills in the first one, and that movie has such a low body count. Not to mention, it pretty much says nostalgia is overrated while relying completely on nostalgia to even exist. So I think that's what pissed me off about it. And yes, I am angry about this movie. Even though I went into it knowing that it was probably going to suck, it still pissed me off that they didn't do better. And that's what upset me the most, is they're pushing this nostalgic, like, return to form slasher in style, but you can't do that and just blatantly rip off the first movie and expect people to not be mad about it. As I always do, I am going to try to give this movie a fair chance, because I know I've been really dogging on it in this intro and shitting on it, but there are a few decent things that I guess I can say about it. Like I said, this movie relies very heavily on nostalgia, which on its own isn't a bad thing, because there's movies that have done that and do it really well. I personally thought this movie did it in a really just dog shit way. But, some good that came out of it is that they brought back Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Sarah Michelle Gellar also has a cameo in it. And not to, diminish how the rest of the cast did, because no offense to them, a lot of them did do well. But the three best performances in this movie come from Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like, it's very clear that they're tethered to the roots of this movie. And I'm not going to be too hard on them, because the cast did what they could with very thin material. I mean, Madeline Klein as Danica does bring some entertainment to otherwise flat scenes, but like I said, the legacy characters do 90% of the heavy lifting just by existing in the movie at all. The movie's tone is interesting. Like, it juggles between camp, meta commentary, and horror. So I guess when it leans into its own ridiculousness and acknowledges when it's not being serious, it can be entertaining. But I don't necessarily want to say that that's a positive, because if a movie has to acknowledge so many times that it's ridiculous, it's probably severely undersupported in other places. Let's talk about the gripes that I have with this movie, because as you can imagine, I have quite a few. I mean, I got whiplash just from the tone shifts alone. The first half of this movie is just gory fun, whereas the second half turns like moody and serious and melodramatic, and it just seems to me like someone hit shuffle on the world's shittiest drama slasher Spotify playlist. And I swear to God, so many of the characters in this movie are so shallow they damn near float off screen. Many of the supporting characters are barely sketched. They make the worst choices at the worst time. Their motivations are weak. And on the whole topic of making stupid choices, I know that's a slasher horror movie thing, but in this movie, the characters are so stupid that it's not even close to realistic. Most people, when they hear a noise down a hallway in a basement, wouldn't go check it out. So that's why when it happens in Friday the 13th or Halloween, you can be like, oh no, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. But it's fun. This movie makes it so forced that they're actually the dumbest and most insufferable type of people there is. They all have the vibe of teenagers that look like this, you know what I mean? Like, they're so cool. They're cool, like, young college kids. They're so fucking lame. I don't even know what age they are, but I assume they're like mid-20s, so I guess teenager is wrong, but they're all like that attitude of like, we're so cool, we own the night, I'm gonna make a stupid decision and invent a plot hole right about now. I'll see y'all later. I'm off to do my thing. Yeah. The killer's motivation when the reveal comes at the end is murky at best. Like, okay, spoilers. I know you probably don't care because I put a spoiler warning at the start of these videos, but spoilers if you still plan on watching this pile of horse cow manure. Ray, Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character from the original, ends up being the killer along with Stevie. Now, this I saw coming, and I'll explain why in a minute, because the movie pretty much tells you who it is in the first 30-40 minutes. So I saw it coming, but the reveal still pissed me off, because they could have done it well. Admittedly, I hate the idea of Ray being the killer, because I feel like it messes with the first one, and of course, Sidney Prescott said it best about remakes.
Don't fuck with the original.
And they did exactly that, because like I said, the motivation alongside it just doesn't... I guess it kind of makes sense, it's made to seem clever, but it's such a stretch for me that I really just can't get behind it. One of the worst parts about it is I wasn't joking when I said you can figure out who the killer is in the first half of the movie. There's a scene where one of the characters, I'm not even going to go into depth on her character because she really has no depth at all, but she runs like a podcast, and she pretty much just arrived in the town where the movie takes place. She just arrived there, and eventually she gets attacked by the killer along with one of her friends, and before she dies, she like pulls the slicker down and pulls the hat off and sees the killer's face and goes, "It's you," or something like that. Now, at this point, the only people she knows about are Freddie Prinze Jr., because she reads about the story, so of course she knows who that is. And then the only other person she's met since being in town was another character who I believe was named Milo, if I remember correctly. So she's only met a couple people in this town. The main character girl, Milo, only two people she's met, and then Ray on the television. So you can kind of narrow down that it's either Milo or Ray, and then Milo dies not too long later, and then that just leaves Ray. So the movie pretty much gives it to you. Side note, I just had to double check and make sure that character's name was Milo, because if I had remembered that wrong and had it wrong the whole time I was just talking about him and that whole scene, I would have looked insane. Instead of building fear or dread like a good horror movie should, the characters pretty much tell you how you should feel, because they voice everything. All they do is talk, and I get it, that's hypocritical, because all I do is sit here and yap, but I think they're so much worse, because they're pretty much voicing all their emotions out loud. And the movies, it's hard to get scared of this movie because you're waiting for the killer to do something or waiting for the killer to show up, but the characters won't shut up long enough for him to do it. So to me, the scariest part is that so many people like myself paid money to go and see this shit in theaters. That's scarier than anything. Going back to what I said earlier about Ray and Stevie, voice crack, about Ray and Stevie being the killers, there's a scene where they're like talking one-on-one with no one around, so I don't really know why they're acting like they're not doing in this together. It makes no sense. They have none of the other characters around, so they have no reason to act like they don't know each other, or like they're, it just doesn't make sense to me, because they're talking about the killer. She's like, I'm so scared of, all the murder, blah blah blah, and he's like, I made a promise to your father, I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. So when you see that, and then at the end on the boat in the finale it's revealed they're working together, the twist makes about as much sense as asking a cat to file taxes. Now, some of you are going to agree with me, and some of you are going to think that I'm just really angry and just being hard on this movie and being an asshole. But the reason I'm so passionate about it is because the first, like I said earlier, the first couple I Know What You Did Last Summer movies are classics to me. I love those. They're some of the first horror movies I saw alongside Scream. So when I see them take something that didn't need this sequel, like it was good the way it was, and they bring it back, okay, bring it back, I'll give it a chance, but they bring it back so horribly and so just disrespectful to the original that it does irritate me a little bit. It's the first time in a while that I've left a theater and really wished that I hadn't spent my money to see it. So with that being said, I don't know. I mean, if you want to check it out, because it's not the worst thing you'll ever see. If you love the originals and appreciate them and hold them on to such high regard as I do, you might be a little irritated. So I don't know what they did last summer. All I know is I wasted 2 hours of my life and hard-earned money on it. So that's why I'm going to give it 2 plot holes big enough to drive a boat through out of 10. All right, thank you all so much for watching. I really, really, really appreciate it. I appreciate the support. My From Dusk Till Dawn video is currently, as of filming this, the biggest video on my channel, so I'm glad you guys are loving this style. If you couldn't notice, I've adapted the Forgotten Horror Gems style, kind of scrapped that series and adapted that style to my regular reviews, because I really like doing it this way. So let me know down below what you thought of the new I Know What You Did Last Summer. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you as angry about it as I am and want to just insult it? Please do that. I will love to engage in it. But that's enough for me. I've talked enough. I will see you guys Tuesday for another Quick Cut Tuesday episode. But until then, keep it creepy, and I'll see you next time.